So you've created an amazing coaching package, but here comes that next really tough question. What are you meant to charge for it? How do you land on that perfect price where it's a no-brainer for people to want to buy it, but that you're also getting rewarded for your incredible work? We'll keep on watching and I'll help you figure it out. If you're new to my channel, welcome! My name is Melinda Kitto, and if you are after marketing and messaging tips to help you stand out online and sell your offers with ease, make sure that you subscribe and hit that bell to be notified when I upload a new video every single week. Now, even though this video is going to primarily focus on how to price coaching packages, you can also apply this exact same logic whether you're selling courses, digital products, done-for-you services, or really any kind of online consulting. So I'm going to dive into my tips on how to price your coaching packages by focusing on something that I don't want you to do. Tip number 1 is don't crowdsource your prices. I hang out in Facebook groups a lot, and one of the things that I see people doing day in and day out is jumping into a group and saying, hey, I'm offering this, this, and this. What should I charge for it? What's a fair price? What would you pay for it? And whilst I get that maybe that could be considered market research, it just gives you so much conflicting advice, a lot of which isn't very helpful. Because the value that one person might perceive in your offer would be totally different to the value that the next person would perceive. And you're left feeling even more confused because one person has said, oh, I think you should charge $100, and another person has said you should charge $5,000. Quite a big discrepancy there, right? The thing with crowdsourcing your prices is that the people who are answering that question do not have enough information to give you a valid response. They can't possibly understand your work. They can't possibly understand the true transformation that you can deliver for your clients. So even if you're going into that process of crowdsourcing your prices with the intention of giving yourself a little bit of a ballpark, I'm telling you that ballpark is going to be so wide-ranging that you'll end up leaving yourself even more confused. So this is just one of those decisions where you've got to pull on your big business pants and actually make the call yourself. How much do you think your package is worth? The next tip I want you to consider when it comes to pricing your coaching packages is to remember that there is always a market for something. When you're setting your prices, you really need to consider where you'd like to position yourself in the market. Some people choose to set their prices at a point where it is really accessible for a lot of people because they want to get a wide audience to be able to invest in their services. Other people might choose to establish themselves as a really premium level offering. Both ends of that spectrum, and also anywhere in between, is totally okay. It's really about how you choose to position your business. If you have a Lamborghini dealership, you're not worried about whether Honda customers are going to be able to afford your pricing. You've deliberately made the choice to position yourself as a high-end premium product. But that doesn't take anything away from the Honda dealership who knows that they're providing reliable cars for the everyday person. What I'm saying here is that there is always a market no matter where you end up on that spectrum. So no matter where you choose to land, your task then becomes, how do I position myself so that people see the value in what I'm asking for? In this video right here, I talked about how coaching packages are really your fast track to hitting those 10K months in your business consistently. And in that video, I really talked about the importance of shifting away from that dollar per hour mentality. And I want you to keep that in mind when it comes to actually pricing your packages. So in this video, I talked about how to focus on the overall transformation that your package will deliver for your potential client. So I want you to think about this for a minute. For some nice easy maths here, let's just assume that you charge $100 an hour for your service. The simplest way to price your coaching package would be to say, well, there's 10 hours of coaching in this package. I charge $100 an hour, so therefore my package is worth $1,000. But is it? First of all, you need to consider what else you would be offering as part of that package. Is there course material that they're going to work through? Are you providing email support? Is there some kind of way for them to stay in touch with you in between coaching sessions? If you've got that dollar per hour mentality, you need to be factoring all of those additional hours that you're going to be giving this person. What if we flip the script on that entirely? When somebody is investing in working with you, they're not actually investing in the number of hours that you are going to show up for them. They're investing in what those hours will allow them to do. So if your coaching package is designed to take them from point A to point B, I want you to really start to think about what is the value of that transformation? What is it actually worth to them to experience that transformation? Let's say, for example, that you're a relationship coach and you help couples who are right on the brink of divorce to be able to rescue their marriage, get it back on track, and actually create that thriving, loving relationship that they always hoped their marriage would be. What is that actually worth to these people? All of a sudden, when you think about that transformation, when you consider what it would have cost this couple if they hadn't found you, not just financially with divorce proceedings and everything that goes along with that, but mentally, emotionally, physically, When you start to put your focus on the value of that transformation, it can really change your perspective when it comes to pricing. So once you start to appreciate the true value of your work, which in that example is priceless, now you need to revisit point number 2. Where do you actually want to position yourself in the market? Maybe you're drawn to that premium end of the market because you know that people who have a lot of money also have a lot at risk when it comes to divorce proceedings. So you might choose to position yourself as the Lamborghini, as that premium level service. And the right type of client will invest at that level because they believe they have more at stake. Or you might feel drawn more towards helping everyday families, which is awesome. You might just need to consider though that your pricing needs to be a bit more accessible. Just remember, there's a market for everything. Some people want to pay for the Lamborghini and some people want a reliable Honda. So with all those things considered, how do you actually land on a price? Well, my advice here is to just start with what feels right. When you're putting a new offer out there, in my humble opinion, the best gift that you can give yourself is confidence and traction. So I usually suggest you choose a price that will give you confidence and traction. And here's how I do that. Let's say you've taken into consideration all of those factors and you believe that the value of the transformation you provide for your clients is $5,000. Say that price out loud for me for a second. My services are worth $5,000. What happened in your body there? Maybe that makes you feel like, hell yes, my package is worth $5,000. It's actually probably worth double that. Awesome. Maybe your reaction is a bit more like, maybe, I'm not sure. Or maybe your reaction is more like, oh my God, there is no way that I could ever charge that amount. It's totally subjective, right? But what I'm asking you to do there is to feel into your own body and get a sense for what actually feels right for you. So I want you to create a bit of a scale for yourself. And at the bottom of that scale, I want you to think about the kind of price that would feel like a bit of an insult. The kind of price that you would never ever consider accepting because it's just way too low. Let's say, for example, you normally charge $100 an hour. If somebody offered you $25, you'd be a bit insulted. You'd be like, hang on a minute. No, my services are worth way more than that. So what is that bottom end of the scale for you? At the top end of that scale, I want you to think about the kind of price that you can barely fathom yourself ever charging. The kind of price that if you were to say it out loud, you'd almost feel a bit of vomit rising in the back of your throat because it just feels like way too much. That's your scale, right? Your pricing needs to be somewhere in between there. So let's now find a little bit of a midpoint on that scale. What is a price point that you think is a pretty fair ask for what you're offering? So let's say for argument's sake that the absolute bottom end of your package range is $1,000. And maybe the top end of your range is $5,000. And no judgment, by the way, if your numbers are either side of that. If I asked you to find that midpoint as to what you believe is a fair price for your offering, let's say you land on $2,500. Now I want you to check in again. How does that price make you feel? Does that feel good to you? Does it feel too high, too low? Do you feel like you would be resentful if you were charging that amount? Or do you feel like you'd feel totally uncomfortable asking for even that price? And you just keep adjusting accordingly. Now, like I said earlier, two of the factors that I really like to get my clients to focus on is how can they build confidence and traction with their new offer. And how do you build confidence and traction? You need to make some sales, right? So particularly for people who are newer in business, I generally suggest that maybe you find that price point that you think is fair and maybe just start by sitting slightly below that. Now, that is not to devalue your services in any way, shape, or form. But it is a choice to price your services at a level that you feel damn confident to offer it at. Because if you genuinely believe that your services are actually worth more than you're asking, you will show up on a sales call with that confidence and with that belief. So you can approach those conversations with so much more confidence because you actually believe that this person is getting an incredible deal. You'll be able to convey that value far more effectively. And in doing so, they are far more likely to say yes. And what does that give you? Confidence and traction. Now you're making money. Now you're making sales. Now you're getting that feedback that your offer actually works. And the awesome part is you don't have to stay at that price for too long if you don't want to. Maybe just getting those 1, 2, or 3 initial sales on the board is enough to give you that confidence to say, great, my offer's working. What if I push it up to this price now? And as more people start to invest at that level, your confidence increases, your traction continues to grow, and you can start to push yourself closer and closer to that value that you truly believe this transformation is worth. So ultimately, the question of how do you price your coaching packages comes down to, well, what feels right for you? But of course, I'm sure you understand there is a whole lot of other factors that come into play. What's your niche? Who's your ideal client? All of those factors will influence what is a fair price to charge. So if you want to dig into those factors a little bit more, I've left a couple of videos here and here for you to check out. I'd love to hear from you though. How do you land on the price for your package or service? Is this something you really struggle with? Let me know in the comments below. As always, if you found this video helpful, I would love it if you share it around with your friends, and make sure that you hit that like button because that's a great way of telling me that you want to see more videos just like this one. Every single week I drop a new video with a whole bunch of marketing and messaging tips that will help you stand out online and sell your offers with ease. So if you want to get your hands on more of those, make sure that you check out these videos right here, and you can also click this little button right here to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Oh. I think I had something important to say. I've forgotten.